You're listening to The Jeff Crilley Show on Talk Radio 1190.
Welcome back to The Jeff Crilley Show. Many of you know that I used to work at Channel 4 in Dallas, and so I was a TV reporter, and then I moved to what some would consider the other side. I now get people on the news, and so I really respect people who have worked on both sides. And my next guest, Rachel Khirallah, she's a real estate attorney, but she's had experience in this dispute between tenants and landlords from the other side. Rachel, welcome to the Jeff Crilley Show.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Okay, so talk about your previous life, because that really does play a large role in what you do now.
When I first graduated from law school, I knew I wanted to head into the real estate litigation world and started working for a smaller firm that represented banks. And so I jumped in head first, started representing banks, whether it was foreclosing on individuals' homes, foreclosing on loans, whether it was landlord-tenant issues, eviction matters, everything from the gamut of foreclosure claim all the way down through the ultimate eviction.
And as you were working on that side, were you happy?
You know, I was happy practicing law. At the time, I enjoyed the practice in and of itself, and I enjoyed the puzzle pieces that happens in real estate. But at the end of the day, I saw so much of the abuse that was happening across the banks and the landlords and the bigger companies, and I was ready for a change.
Now, when you say abuse, what do you mean?
There just whether the borrower or the tenant was in fact in default, just because a homeowner or an individual or a tenant or a borrower is in default doesn't allow a larger company to abuse them, whether that means sending them foreclosure notices on Christmas Day, whether that means showing up at their home on Easter Sunday saying that they've been served with an eviction notice. There are certain, even the airlines give you blackout dates. I feel
Right.
that banks and I was seeing that happen pretty frequently. And not to mention that I think the most difficult part in all of this is the legal system, right, wrong, or indifferent, is ingrained in what's in writing and what has been documented.
Right.
So when you call up your bank over the telephone and you enter into some sort of communication, that person, the banker on the other line, is giving you information orally that you as the borrower are going to depend on. If it's not in writing, however, it cannot be enforced in court. And so if the bank tells you one thing on the phone at the time, you rely on that,
Right.
thinking that you've got the situation worked out, only to find out 6-8 months later when it's too late, the bank's contradicting everything that was said over the phone, and it's because a high-level executive is making that decision.
Wow. Okay, so then you made the break. Did you hang out your own shingle and start your own firm?
I did. I had $300 in my bank account at the time and thought I was going to see where and how. I knew that there was a fight. My mother had always told me, you've got to give access to the legal network to those that don't have it. My father is a real estate attorney, so it was this perfect blend. And they said, if you don't like what's going on out in the world, just go fix it. So I did. So I hung my own shingle out almost 6.5 years ago. And we are so busy right now, and thankfully every day I get to fight the fight on behalf of those borrowers and those tenants that unfortunately I may or may not have evicted or at least put into default.
Wow. Well,
quite a while ago.
You were in our office the other day, and you were telling the story about one case that you're working on right now, and it just touched everybody's heart. Can you share that with us?
Sure. We have some clients who are paying their monthly mortgage payment every single month. There was an internal issue with the bank that happened with some records, and that was 4 years ago. The bank wouldn't fix it, and my clients gave proof that there was, in fact, an error and a mistake, and the bank refused to fix it and kept passing it along from one person to the next. It was a borrower with an ethnic background, and the bank then got their names confused with another similar name and started reporting them in an active bankruptcy type of situation, so they could never get it fixed. 4 years later, we still can't get the bank to fix it, and we are going to trial in a couple of months on it.
Wow. And she has some health issues that she's dealing with.
She does. She was diagnosed with breast cancer approximately 3 or 4 years ago. One of the banks at the time issued a foreclosure notice on Christmas Day, and my clients are current on their mortgage, and they continue to pay their monthly mortgage every single month.
So when you take a case like this, do you have to lie awake at night? I mean, their future really depends on you, doesn't it?
It does, and it's hard. It's a constant balancing because my hourly rate's $350 an hour. Clients don't have that kind of money to come in and pay, so we have to come up with creative solutions to be able to work with them. And unfortunately, the law a lot of the times is on the side of the banks, but because of the reason that I was talking to about earlier, that things need to be in writing, and it just makes for a more difficult claim. We are consistently behind the 8 ball, and when you're working up against these big box banks, they've got unlimited resources. So it's you and your clients and your little law practice trying to go in and fight it.
And tell me if I'm wrong. To some of these banks, a tenant is just a number on a file, right? I mean, they don't even represent a real person to a large bank sometimes.
That's absolutely correct, and unfortunately, I think that happens across industries for the most part a lot of the time. However, in this situation, it's a home. It's someone's kingdom. It's someone's castle. It's somewhere where they spend Christmas every year. They recognize the smell of their home, and when you are sitting there fighting, knowing the bank has told you one thing and are acting in another way, it's not right, and it's hard to prove. It's hard to prove, and it's hard to get your clients to trust you because you look like you could be just another part of the equation. So.
And because you've worked for the other side, do you have some knowledge about how the process works so that you can advise your client better than, say, somebody else in your industry who hadn't worked on the other side?
Yes, I know where to hit where it hurts, and that's what we do. That's what we do.
You're a good attorney. I love it. I love it. So what's when you think back on your legal career so far, I have to imagine there have been hugs outside the courtroom. What's been some highlights for you on your legal career so far?
I would say probably one of the best highlights was knowing that one of the families that we'd saved their home from getting foreclosed said for the first time she could plant flowers in her garden. She felt, and it was something so simple and yet so symbolic of how important our day-to-day lives are, and when the roof over your head is uncertain, can truly wreak havoc on the rest of your lives.
What is your advice for the person listening to this who has what they feel is a case? I mean, should they contact you and just see, I think there is an attitude you can't fight a big bank. I can't outspend them. They got fleets of attorneys lined up just waiting to fight me, and I can't win. But that's not true, is it?
No, that's not true. That's where Khirallah PLLC was born and why it was born. The sooner the better that you can come in. The moment a foreclosure notice has been issued, or even if you've already been foreclosed on, if you believe that something was done improperly, we will look at the case for free. We will assess it. We will determine. And if you do, in fact, have a case, there are ways that we can work with you to make sure that your rights are protected, and at a minimum, the bank's going to have to prove to be at whatever they can do to justify their conduct.
And I can tell you, Rachel was in our office the other day. She charmed our entire team, and you're a fighter, and I think everybody can hear your heart and know what you stand for. Give us your website and please spell it for us.
Sure. It's Khirallah. That's KHIRALLAHPLLC.com. So that's KhirallahPLLC.com.
Outstanding. You've been a great guest. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it.
Coming up next, it's been kind of a struggle for the oil and gas industry. We're going to be joined by an expert just ahead on the Jeff Crilley Show.
More of the Jeff Crilley Show coming up.